I'm Brian Duffy from 19 News. Here are the latest headlines, first alert weather, and breaking news for Thursday, March 26, 2026.
First with breaking news. First with new information. 19 News starts now with a first alert for severe weather.
We begin with what could be a wicked weather night ahead.
The 19 First Alert Weather Team is tracking showers and storms that could be severe. Thanks for joining us first at 4. I'm Nicole Versansky.
I'm Brian Duffy. It is a 19 First Alert Weather Day.
It is. Could be some flooding, even hail. 19 First Alert meteorologist Erica Page is here with what we can expect, Erica.
Yeah, and you look outside and maybe you've stepped outside so far this afternoon and you're enjoying some of the temperatures that are in the 70s and noticing a few breaks among those clouds. That's all that sunshine that we've been able to make good use of in terms of warming up that temperature very efficiently. However, in scenarios like this, it's not always what you want to see, because what that sunshine and that warmer temperature does is it helps to prime your atmosphere, that if you can get some showers and storms to develop, they can tap into really favorable ingredients to quickly organize those storms, and they could potentially then turn strong to severe. Not to mention, we also have a cold front coming in later this evening, and so all of these ingredients kind of coming together could potentially pose that severe risk for us with any storm that moves through. Our most likely concerns, as especially we get into this evening, is going to be the gusty wind threat as well as some heavy rain that could lead to some isolated flooding. However, if we can get some isolated storms to develop ahead of the cold front, that's where you could also be talking about a large hail threat as well as a risk for tornadoes, at least within the next couple of hours. What we'd be watching are little isolated cells that can really get a bit more organized. You're starting to see some rain, a lightning strike already noted out towards Geauga County, taking good advantage of this warmer air that's in place, and we will have to watch how quickly a lot of this activity can continue to develop here over the next couple of hours. I'll walk you through where all the new data stands concerning tonight's storm chance in just a few minutes.
Well, the Haslams continue to put their money where their mouths are. Criticize them all you want for the football team, but they do want a world-class facility, and today announcing they are writing yet another big check.
Yeah, upping their investment big time by another $555 million. 19 Data journalist Dan DeRose is here to break it down for us, and we just got a statement, Dan, from the Haslams.
Can't imagine opening up the checkbook and writing another $555 million check for this project. Let's break down where the extra money is needed for this project. 2025, we were told the project for just the stadium, just the dome, the mega theater that they're calling it, $2.4 billion. Well, here's what we were just told a couple of hours ago. It's now up to $2.6 billion. The Haslams are going to pick that up. Don't think, oh, great, they're coming to the taxpayers. The Haslams are going to pick that up. We were told the county might put in $178 million. Well, we know Chris Ronayne is not going to do that. So the Haslams are picking that up, too. Brook Park, we thought, could go in for $422 million. They can't do that. $245 million to sell bonds. That's not taxpayer money. They're going to sell bonds for that. That means the Haslams had to come up with that extra $555 million. Their total investment now is well over $1.7 billion. Now let's talk about the statement from the Haslams. I think I have it here. Nope, we don't have that one. The stadium, here we go, right here. We are committed to Northeast Ohio and believe with this increased investment, we will create not only a transformative world-class stadium and development, but an opportunity to positively impact further growth in our region. The statement from the Haslams goes on to say, we believe that the Cleveland and all of Northeast Ohio deserve this state-of-the-art, first-of-its-kind venue, and we will continue to work on our commitment to build a stadium and a football team that our fans and community will be proud of. Again, a statement just out this afternoon from Dee and Jimmy Haslam.
Okay, Dan, well, a lot has happened this week between the Browns, Brook Park, and ODOT. We're breaking this all down on a new episode of Stadium Showdown. Tomorrow, you can stream on 19 News Plus starting at 6:30. You can also watch past episodes on our website, cleveland19.com.
The Cleveland mother accused of murdering her two young daughters was back in front of a judge today. Aaliyah Henderson pleaded not guilty. Vic Gideon was there, and he has some new details in this case.
Henderson.
28-year-old Aaliyah Henderson appeared in court on a monitor from jail as she listened to her attorneys enter her plea.
You said not guilty, Ms. Jameson?
Yes,
All right,
Your
we'll
Honor.
accept your not guilty plea.
Henderson, accused of killing 10-year-old Amor Wilson and 8-year-old Mila Chapman, listened as the victim's advocate represented the fathers in court.
They have all expressed that they would like the highest bond possible, as Ms. Henderson has had a history of staying hidden and moving from place to place.
We are here to celebrate.
Henderson's court appearance comes one day after the emotional funeral for the half-sisters.
They were princesses.
The tragedy started with a grim discovery, a makeshift memorial adorning the shallow grave in a field behind Ginn Academy, where investigators found the body of the two girls buried in suitcases.
Calm down now, hands up.
Henderson was arrested at her South Collinwood home, where police found another child, a 6-year-old boy, the subject of another court request.
That there be a no contact order with the surviving victim.
All right, very well.
Judge Brian Mooney then made his bond decision.
The original bond of $2 million is continued, conditioned upon no contact with the victim. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Aaliyah Henderson's next appearance in court will be April 7th for a pretrial with Judge William Vaudreuil. Reporting from the Justice Center, Vic Gideon, 19 News.
U.S. Marshals just arrested 3 fugitives. The first 2 are connected. Cleveland police wanted Devin Robinson for a deadly stabbing back in February. So they found him in a home with this man, Josh B. Transu. He was wanted in Paynesville for attempted murder after a 2023 shooting. Now also arrested, Philip Mayfield. Akron police wanted him for homicide. He's accused of running a man over with his vehicle last week on March 18th.
New information on a deadly shooting on Cleveland's west side. This was on Tuesday. The medical examiner identified the 18-year-old shot and killed as Aquarian Wimes of Cleveland. He and 2 16-year-old boys were shot on West 46th Street in the Clark Fulton neighborhood. The 16-year-olds are being treated at the hospital. No names, no conditions have been released. Police have not made any arrests.
First at 4, former East Cleveland Police Chief Kenneth Lundy has been indicted on more than 24 charges.
Now, you'll remember we've covered this extensively. He was fired in July after being accused of having a relationship with a witness in a murder case that he was actually investigating. It's a messy case that our Aria Janelle is working to unravel.
Lundy is facing 31 counts for crimes he's accused of committing while he was a detective for East Cleveland. These accusations dating back to 2016. 42-year-old Kenneth Lundy had your trust, and according to the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office, he may have abused it. At the time of Lundy's firing in 2025, Lateef Shabazz was mayor. He spoke to 19 after letting Lundy go, saying in a termination letter that he didn't have the qualifications to be the acting chief.
We want the people to know that you ain't got to worry about the police. The police is here to protect you, not to harass you.
According to a press release Thursday from the prosecutor's office, Lundy may have been responsible for wrongfully putting someone behind bars around 2017. The prosecutor's office accusing Lundy of having an intimate relationship with a witness in a homicide investigation. The office claims Lundy pressured, intimidated, and financially manipulated the witness. They say she then changed her statement and testified in the trial, leading to the suspect being wrongfully convicted.
I only think about the family that the victim must feel now.
That conviction was eventually reversed, but according to the press release, prosecutors are accusing Lundy of more crimes. The state of Ohio believes in 2016, Lundy dropped all minor drug charges in a case in exchange for a Chevy Tahoe worth $50,000. He's also being accused of falsifying case records and taking out funds for investigations and instead pocketing the money for himself. 19 News reached out to current East Cleveland Mayor Sandra Morgan. The city's law director sent us this statement saying in part, quote, "These are very serious charges, and while Mr. Lundy is innocent until proven guilty, it is significant that a grand jury found probable cause to believe these crimes were committed." The city also says they're doing their best to reform the police department and will not tolerate any actions like the ones listed in this indictment. For 19 News, I'm Aria Janelle.
Deposed Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife appeared in federal court in New York City today.
So they are facing drug trafficking and narco-terrorism charges and have previously pleaded not guilty. Bradley Blackburn is outside the courthouse with the latest.
A federal judge in New York Thursday refused to dismiss charges against former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife after Maduro's lawyer argued the U.S. is violating Maduro's rights by not allowing him to use Venezuelan government funds for his legal defense.
Hands up, Venezuela!
This was Maduro's first court appearance since his not guilty plea in January to drug trafficking and narco-terrorism charges. President Trump said Thursday he expects Maduro to face even more charges.
That was a big charge that hasn't been brought yet. It should be brought. He emptied his prisons into our country and was a major purveyor of drugs coming into our country.
Groups of demonstrators, both for and against Maduro, rallied here outside the courthouse during the hearing.
80% of my people in my country is expecting and waiting for the United States do what they have to do to sentence this guy to the maximum they can do.
We are standing in solidarity with the Venezuelan people who on the ground are defending their democratically elected president.
This is one more U.S. coup, one more U.S. kidnapping, one more U.S. war.
Law enforcement sources tell CBS News that since his January arrest, Maduro has been kept under special administrative measures at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn in a secure unit for the most high-risk detainees. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Maduro's wife is being held in a different unit in the same facility. Neither has asked to be released on bail, and the judge has not yet set a trial date.
A new learning center just opened in the city of Cleveland today. There was a ribbon cutting at the location there. Downtown Prospect Avenue, the focus here will be preparing high school age students for the real world. The Junior Achievement Learning Center gives students hands-on experience working directly with community partners to build career skills.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, we are keeping an eye on the radar certainly as we go through the next couple of hours, and especially as we get into this evening. That is when the greatest risk potentially exists for some strong, possibly severe storms. You'll notice that if you've been following this outlook the last couple of days, this has started to work its way a little bit more east, especially with that level 3 out of 5 risk, basically indicating that we could have more numerous storms developing and more of them could be on the strong to severe side. Now, our main concern still remains the gusty wind threat as that cold front starts to roll through this evening. However, if we get a couple more isolated storms that can quickly develop and organize, not only is there a gusty wind threat there, but potentially hail as well as an isolated tornado risk. Not our greatest concerns, but it is something we will have to watch given what our atmosphere is doing, especially as we go through the next couple of hours. A little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity working its way off towards the east. We're watching to see how well a lot of this activity out over the lake is holding together, because most of these showers are developing just south of a boundary that sits up to our north. So the farther away from the boundary you get, that's going to give us a really good telltale sign as to how well these storms hold together and potentially if they can maintain any strength or even become a bit more organized. Ashtabula right now getting in on a good downpour, some lightning out there as well. And certainly as you go farther to the south, just north of the Youngstown area, we're also starting to see a little bit more of that thunderstorm activity. But temperatures right now, low to mid 70s, some spots even seeing a little bit of sunshine at this hour. That is that storm energy and that fuel that these storms will eventually try to take advantage of before this stalled out boundary turns into a cold front and starts to push down towards the southeast. That said, areas just to our west are being watched as a potential area where a watch will likely be issued across parts of Illinois, Indiana, and far western Ohio, because we are starting to see that severe risk potentially increasing out that direction. We'll have to see how this behaves, especially downstream, as for us, we get into the early part of this evening. We'll again watch those couple isolated storms for that isolated severe risk later this evening. Anything again outside of the cold front, that is what we will have to watch in the near term. Once that cold front starts to come in, gusty winds will be our primary concern as temperatures start to crash with the front. And then once that front passes you by, your severe threat goes down for tonight and you're just dealing with more opportunities for rain. which does mean we'll have to watch for some isolated flooding concerns as well before that moisture starts to escape and we in turn a little bit colder as we get into the end of this week. Friday, Saturday temperatures at best into the mid, maybe upper 30s. We'll watch for an isolated lake flurry early on Saturday, but outside of that, the pattern finally starts to turn around to wrap up March. Temperatures mild, 60s to 70s.
Now to your top 4 at 4. A day after her daughter's funerals, the Cleveland mother accused of killing them was back in court. Aaliyah Henderson pleaded not guilty for the deaths of 10-year-old Amor Wilson and 8-year-old Mila Chapman. The judge continued her bond at $2 million. Henderson will be back in court April 7th.
4-year-old boy missing from North Olmsted has been found in Puerto Rico. U.S. Marshals say the mom, who does not have custody, took off with her son after her 3-day visitation here. They tracked her down to Puerto Rico, found the child. Evelyn Otero was arrested. She's waiting to be extradited to Cuyahoga County, where she will face charges.
A Cleveland priest pleads guilty. A human trafficking task force arrested 77-year-old Dean Diamond back in September for soliciting sex. An Avon Lake judge gave him a $250 fine but suspended his 30-day sentence. The judge also ordered Diamond to complete a required course in Columbus. His case will be reviewed on June 24th. Diamond was a priest with the Annunciation Greek Orthodox Church.
President Trump says time is running out for Iran to agree to a deal to end the war, posting on social media that Iranian negotiators better get serious soon before it's too late, the president said. Mr. Trump called Iranian negotiators strange, saying they are begging for a deal in private while publicly denying it. This comes as additional U.S. troops are on their way to the region. Well, lots of buzz these days surrounding peptides.
Peptides, those are amino acids found naturally in the body that help with immune function, muscle growth, and tissue recovery. Scientists have also developed synthesized versions, most notably for insulin and GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Now, the FDA has tested and regulated those, but wellness influencers are pushing others online, claiming much wider range of benefits like muscle growth, fat loss, and injury recovery.
So there's some animal data like rats and mice that suggest that they have powerful effects on cell function, but there's no gold standard, reproducible, randomized trials in humans that show that they actually work. Now, that's
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a prominent supporter of peptides. He has signaled plans to push the FDA to make them easier to produce and buy.
Local senior loses nearly $200,000 in a textbook scam, but police turned the tables in just 2 days to catch those frauds. Keith Grant has the moment police arrested them.
That's the moment Westlake police pulled over 2 scammers for stealing $200,000 in gold from a 78-year-old woman. But to understand how police got here, let's go back 7 months. Last August, a pop-up on her computer told her to call Apple support. Police say an imposter answered and convinced her she was caught up in a federal investigation. For 7 months, scammers posing as FBI agents had her hand over nearly $200,000 in gold to strangers at her front door.
These people actually had the audacity to show up in the city of Westlake and collect gold from our victim.
It was inside this North Olmsted coin shop that the 7-month scam finally started to unravel. An employee noticing the warning signs and pulling the woman aside.
What kind of hurry are you in here? And she's like, well, it has to do with the FBI, and it has to, she's like, I can't say much more. And I was like, oh no, hon, it's a scam.
That conversation sent her straight to Westlake Police Monday morning. Detectives moving quickly, sending the scammers this photo. Fake gold enough to reel them in.
So our detectives just took her identity, basically, made the scammers believe that she completed all this. We sent them pictures of the gold. We made them believe that she actually physically had real gold to give them again.
The 2 Pennsylvania men took the bait, showing up at her Westlake home to collect. Drone cameras tracked them from the moment they walked out.
We got the couriers. They are part of the whole organization. They're not the masterminds or anything like that.
The woman at the center of this, well, Westlake police say, unfortunately, her $200,000 is likely gone for good. Keith Grant, 19 News.
19 News helping you stay safe from scammers. We have episodes of The Watchdog streaming now, keeping you in the know on the latest scams and consumer alerts. New episodes of Watchdog drop Wednesdays at 6:30 on 19 News Plus. Cleveland firefighters are now investigating an arson in the city's Huff neighborhood. Crews arrived just after midnight at a strip mall on Superior. They found a fire at a wireless store. We're told there is about $1,000 in damage. No one was hurt.
Another busy travel weekend is on tap at the nation's airports. Congress is poised to take off on their 2-week spring break tomorrow. But now we are hearing of a last and final offer being debated by the Senate right now to potentially end the funding shutdown. Karen Caifa is in Washington with a look at what's ahead for passengers and those unpaid TSA workers.
After some midweek relief, Thursday brought another frustrating day at some of the nation's biggest airports. And passengers are bracing for another tough weekend.
It's frustrating, sure, but it doesn't do any good to be angry at anybody or be hateful to anybody because these people are working without pay.
Nearly 6 weeks since Department of Homeland Security funding lapsed, TSA workers are approaching another missed paycheck on Friday.
Just now worked 4 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and still not getting paid for it. Fun stuff.
Lawmakers still at odds are on the cusp of a 2-week recess scheduled to begin Friday. On Thursday, President Donald Trump again laid shutdown blame on Democrats.
They're punishing the American people, including travelers at airports.
Senate Democrats on Wednesday rejected a GOP proposal to withhold money for federal immigration enforcement, but without any policy changes.
I think cooler heads need to prevail.
Meanwhile, TSA said more than 3,000 officers nationwide didn't show up for work on Wednesday. Wait times at Houston's Bush Intercontinental Airport climbed around 4 hours early Thursday. At New York's LaGuardia, the wait time in one general security line was nearly 2 hours. And at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson, ICE agents walked along snaking security lines and checked passenger IDs. TSA agents are among 61,000 DHS employees working without pay, including employees of the Coast Guard, Secret Service, and Federal Emergency Management Agency. In Washington, I'm Karen Caifa.
All right, baseball fans, tonight's the night. Opening night.
Yep, here we go. Long season ahead. The Guardians kick off a brand new season. Low expectations by everybody nationally. That always happens, though, right? Let's bring in Mark Schwab. Schwabby, what can we expect?
All right, well, they've won 2 straight division titles. No one's picking them to win anything this year, but I think they're going to be pretty good. I got them for 90 wins. Tell me I'm nuts. Check with me in September. They're in Seattle tonight. It's only going to be in the mid-40s there, but Seattle has the retractable roof, so we're playing ball tonight, 10 or a few minutes afterwards. Pitching, obviously going to be the strength of this team. Tanner Bybee takes the hill with the pill tonight, but they really have 6 solid starters. They were 5th in team ERA last season, and the bullpen should be solid too. Plus, their entire pitching staff cost only $18 million. These dudes know how to get bang for the buck.
You can stack up payrolls as much as you want, but we don't make excuses about payrolls. Over the past 10 years, we've been to the postseason 7 times, so that we are stacking ourselves up on wins, not on payroll, and we try to create that winning environment where guys know it's our internal guys that drive us.
All right, so let's get to the lineup. There's not a whole lot behind the great Jose Ramirez, future Hall of Famer, but they could have a potential star in Chase DeLauder, an outfielder. He's 24. He's been hurt a lot, like a lot. But he had .459 this spring. He's going to get every chance to help a team that was 28th in runs, 29th in bombs.
I'm excited about the group we have. We know it's a young roster that will need to continue to develop and perform at the same time at the major league level, but it's a group that has great potential. Now it's on us to help support them, to help them achieve that.
All right, Guardians all in on these young players because they can't or won't sign any big free agents. They spent a total of $9 million in free agency, 29th out of 30 teams. The highest spending team, Toronto, at $339 million. I don't know if that's Canadian or American. I don't know the exchange rate. today.
I don't think it matters.
Reporting live, March 1. It does not matter. 19 News.
I know you love the Guardian, so you're excited. I am too. I've been here forever.
I always love an underdog story, though, right? For the Guards.
But are they under? They've won the division the last 2 years.
Well, I don't know. For whatever reason, they continue to be.
I know, and that's what Schwabe said too. You look at the national publications; they all say third place. They're no good. They don't spend any money, and then every year
Under the radar.
under the
Sneak
radar,
right up on
there they are. I'm Brian Duffy. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe for the latest headlines, first alert weather, and breaking news every weekday.